Hi! In this video, I'll be going over the Minkowski spacetime diagram, and it looks something like this. When we study relativity, we are visualizing how certain events take place in different perspectives. These various perspectives may include being at rest or even traveling at a high velocity. When observing these different perspectives, it is important in relativity, when changing perspectives, to question what variables changed and what remained absolute. Being able to visualize this process will become very useful in relativity. One method is to utilize various thought experiments similar to what Albert Einstein used to illustrate his work, while another method is to display these ideas using graphing techniques, in this case, the spacetime diagram. Here's a little history background on the Minkowski spacetime diagram. Hermann Minkowski is a Russian mathematician who was born in the 1860s. He developed a totally new view on space and time while also laying the mathematical foundations for the theory of relativity. Around 1907, Minkowski realized that the works of Lorentz and Einstein can be represented in a non-Euclidean space. He combined two variables, space and time, for which many thought were independent from each other, and created this concept of space-time continuum, which is a four-dimensional concept. Since four dimensions are impossible to visualize in our three-dimensional world, it is best to explain the space-time diagram starting with 2 dimensions and 3 dimensions. When describing a moving object, it is customary to label the horizontal axis as x, but instead of labeling the vertical axis y in the space-time diagram, we will be representing it as time t. So when an object remains at rest for a certain amount of time, it will look like a vertical line on the space-time diagram. If an object is moving at a certain constant velocity v, the object will move along the x-axis at a certain distance and then move up by 1. Bear in mind that the object itself is not moving in two-dimensional space. It is merely moving in one-dimensional space, which is along the x-axis with the added component of time t. Now there are a couple of terminologies related to the diagram. An event is anything that can be characterized as a single dot on the spacetime diagram. This means that it must have a time and place for it to be considered an event. A world line is considered a trajectory of an object throughout space-time. The line represents various positions of the object in space at different times. Let's say, for example, we have a person moving left and right at a constant rate for a certain amount of time. As we move up the space-time diagram, the world line will traverse left and right, in turn creating a sine wave pattern. If we want to visualize the pathway displayed on the spacetime diagram, we move the entire graph downwards and trace the movement along the single axis. Spacetime diagram may also consist of an xy plane and a time t axis, which creates a three-dimensional graph. It may be more difficult to visualize, but the same graphical techniques and mechanics still apply. That is it for this video. I hope this helped, and thank you for watching.